Hello. We're starting a little bit early. I think that I am live, but I'm not positive. So I'm going to welcome you anyway, and hopefully Jason will let me know by commenting. I had such a good time. My name is Willow Griffith on a webinar tonight with Mr. Mafara and Ron and his lovely co-host Lynn Nakamoto. It was so very enlightening. So many things are happening so rapidly with ONPASSIVE that our head is just spinning. So tonight I'm going to start with opening up about, I was going to talk about blockchain tonight. So I am going to talk a little bit about that. But Ash wanted us to think about the one thing that's so important with ONPASSIVE is security, and how he has set up where we have one-stop shopping, so to speak, with one sign-on, totally protected, totally private, where we can sign in and have access to all of the products right in front of us with a click of the button, that we can interconnect and work together with them. It is such an amazing thing that it is rolling out with ONPASSIVE. We're going to have such flexibility. And we were discussing it on the webinar and how it's going to really benefit us. Hi, Tanya, darling. Thank you for coming and joining me tonight. I was hoping I was broadcasting live. They don't really tell you when you go live. You just gotta kind of wing it there. But anyway, I was talking about how exciting the webinar was for me tonight with Ron and Lynn Nakamoto. I was so impressed with Ash and the things that we're finding out about finally. And also, I want to make everybody aware that, especially on my team, when my team members come in, remind me to ask everybody if they've told their team members that come next week, there might not be any more founders. So from what I understand, what I took away from the meeting on June the 1st, on Wednesday, June the 1st, there's going to be an announcement from Mr. Ash about the termination of the founder accounts that be no more accepted. So that means that if you've been sitting on the fence, God love you, you know, I can't tell you how much I hope you'll reconsider and think about joining us, because our world right now is in shambles. The recession is hitting us hard. Inflation is hitting us hard. 90% of the people, even if they have a job and they're lucky enough to keep it, it doesn't pay them enough money to feed their families. You're going to have a secondary job. Why not have a residual income for life for what you would pay to one trip to Starbucks and, with your friends? You can drop $100 there, flash, and it's going to get worse. But a lot of the people that I know are people that work 9 to 5, and we work hard. We put in our hours every day because we're always in survival mode. It plays hell on your body and on your spirit and on your soul after that many years that I have put in working 9 to 5 and not ever seeing a benefit from it. In a heartbeat, you can lose your job. In a heartbeat, you can't pay your mortgage and you can be out on the street. And it's getting to be that way for a lot of people. And they're not talking about it. But you're going to see it on the streets. And we saw the violence this week escalating and escalating. Why wait to take advantage of something that's going to really benefit the world in the future and yourself all at the same time? And, you know, when I told people I don't like to recruit, and I don't, but I like to share. And I like to know that the people I love are not going to be hurting, are not going to be hungry, are competing for jobs that make them old before their time. I talked to a man today that had been a coal miner all his life. Good, hard-working man that took care of his family. And he's got lung cancer. He doesn't know how he's going to take care of his wife and his kids. His older kids, he's got grandkids that he takes care of too. And I couldn't hardly give him any hope because he's not going to be able to work. And he could get a certain amount of retirement money coming from the mines, not enough to exist on. And I bought him a founder's position today because I couldn't stand the thought of this man who worked all his he worked hard all his life, and they were going to lose everything. So when you're thinking about the future, and you don't think that you're in any danger of losing your job, you might want to think about, am I making enough? Do I have a secure retirement system going? Do I know that my 401k is not going to get slashed when the bank crashes? Do I know that I've got money set aside? If I have to take care of my grandkids, I can. Ask yourself those questions. And if you can't give yourself a clear, direct answer, for God's sakes, jump on, join me, email me, message me, do whatever you can do to get in touch with me, and I'll get you in a flash. Because we've got a short window of time to do so. And I didn't want to really make my show about this tonight, but I wanted you to be able to copy this show and use it for your people too, to make them understand the urgency that is going on in the world right now. And it's not just the United States. There's poverty situations everywhere. As from the very beginning, from the start, said his goal was to eradicate poverty from the world. He didn't know if he could do it for everybody, but he says, even if I can do it for one person, in each one of us, 1,355,000 of us, if we help one person, one, that's all we got to do. We can alter how the world looks. So I ask you, get back with those people you love that you know that are on passive, myself included. If you're in my group, for God's sakes, message me and say, get me in, Willow, and I will. I'll send you the paperwork. You can do it. No pressure from me. I'm not going to call you and I'm not going to nag you. But I'm just going to say, for God's sakes, look at things logically. With what's happened in the world this week, We're going to see supply changes drop. We're going to see food shelves where we can't get the food we need. And a lot of people are going to be taken to the streets. The guns are not going to be the only problem that we have in the world. You have to create some security. And the only thing I see psychically happening is ONPASSIVE becoming bigger and better and stronger and able to support more people. I never see it getting smaller. So now is the time, if you want to help yourself and create an income for life, for God's sakes, listen to Willow just this one time. You don't always listen to me, but I'm telling you, listen to me this time. For $97, you cannot afford not to get in. You just really can't afford to let this slip by you. So, having said that, Ash was brilliant tonight, as usual, in the webinar. And I was dancing in my shoes. I just wanted to talk all night to him. And that's what he does to you when he gets you in those websites. You have 10,000 other things that you want to tell him, of course, and you want to monopolize the whole time. And so Tanya said in the chat, she says, it's the best $97 I've ever spent. And I feel exactly the same. Hi, Liz, darling. Thank you for coming in. So glad to see you. Oh, you're one of my favorites. Everybody is so. Everyone I know. SM, how are you, darling? I see you in my messenger all the time, but I don't know you in face to face yet. But I'll get to know you. I'm so glad you're here. We had a wonderful day today. Looking at possibilities with a few people that I love. And I have told you that, I have grandchildren and I have family that I want to take care of. My husband has a huge family. And so we were dreaming pie in the sky stuff, thinking about what we would do, as soon as ONPASSIVE launches. And when he come out with this one-click sign-in type of thing, and how convenient it is going to be, we're going to feel like we're on Star Trek. I love technology, so I'm really excited about getting in there and pushing all the buttons and finding out how everything works. I want to know that. A lot of people don't. Like they say, well, I don't want to do any of that. I just want to sit back, and have the retirement income. And you can do that. I'm one that I want to see how everything works. And one of the things I'm so excited about is O Academy. I've been trying to talk to teachers that I know of to jump on, get in O Academy, because I don't know if you've been looking at the school shootings. Parents are not going to be readily putting their kids back into school in Texas, let me tell you. And if they do, they're going to be scared to death out of their damn wits, because there's always copycats coming up behind a nitwit, like what happened this week. O Academy is going to take the world by storm. Teachers can get on O Academy, create their curriculum, sell it across the world for $10 a shot. Say you're a teacher that teaches English, the English language. You could create your curriculum, put it on O Academy, charge $10 a session for it, and it goes out to 212 countries, and there's people dying to learn to speak English. And here you've got the platform, and you only have to create it once, because it'll just keep going and going and going and going. And the money that you can earn from O Academy, we haven't even factored in yet about what kind of money you're going to earn from just joining ONPASSIVE. Because we don't talk money, and Ash doesn't talk money. He says, just do the math. And we do when we all speculate, because that's who we are. We do. We got to try our calculator. Well, if I did this and it said that, I only made 2 cents. How much? We've done all that, all of us. But he's about to tell us that we're in for a shock. And I know it's true. But O Academy, e-learning on the outside right now. And Liz, you could probably back me up because you're on the streets, child, working with people that are impoverished and in trouble. And e-learning is becoming big, super business. I don't know how many millions of dollars. I had the figures on that, and they're in my back office. I don't know where they got put them. But e-learning is a rapidly growing industry, getting bigger every single solitary day. And O Academy is going to be the bomb. When Yale and Harvard professors are going to put their curriculum on O Academy, it's the bomb. When you take an art teacher that teaches children in kindergarten and first grade and second grade how to paint, and she creates a whole pattern of teaching them from small things up to larger things, how to paint. She puts it out there to 212 countries. Don't you think that little teacher is going to make far more money than what she's making from the school district right now? You can bet your boot she is. She can't even compare. She doesn't have to go and buy her students colors and paints, and she doesn't have to wear armor to her classes. She can get on in the morning. She can create a curriculum so rich in detail that she probably will never have to work another day in her life, anyway, if she gets out on ONPASSIVE. But if she wants to sell her wares, she wants to stay connected with her children. I have a friend that has homeschooled her kids. They're all in college now, and they got in with honors. And she was in Kentucky. She was a psychiatric treatment nurse. And the school system was really deficient where she was at. And they started a co-op, a homeschooling co-op. And they developed it into, I think they had about, I can't tell you for sure how many, probably about 20 families got together and formed a co-op and created their at-home classes. And each of them rotated. One person would rotate once a week. They'd take all of the kids and go on field trips and things. And they worked it out between all of the co-ops. And their kids all graduated with honors, got into the top level colleges in a flash because they had such good background. Were able to learn music. One little girl, my friend's daughter, is a violinist, and she got into a prestigious group of people learning at higher level. I can't remember the name of the college she got into. It's not a college; it's a school of arts and dance, but I can't think of the name of it. But anyway, she's in concert now. She's working with a group and touring the world, and she's a violinist. And so there are things that we can teach our children that, especially here in the United States, that they took out of the curriculum. Our kids don't have the things that they used to have when I was going to school. My mother was a school teacher. Like art and music and things like that means something to your soul. Even shop and home economics, all that's gone. Bare bones, They want slaves and they train you to be a good slave. That's what public education can do for you. But if you can enrich your kids' environment, even Ash talks about educating his children, you can create co-ops that are connected with O Academy. And you can create a fine system in your community using O Academy. E-learning is the bomb, and O Academy is going to be at the top. So that's just one of that's just one of the products that I want to crow about tonight. The one-stop shop and marketplace is going to be pretty nice too. We got 1,300,000, I think, and 55,000 founders. And what if we need to run an oblast for one of our people that lost their homes last week due to a tornado? I bet you in 24 hours, after we submit the paperwork on oblast, that we'll be able to build them a house or have it built. That's the power of what we're going to have as a group. We're going to change the face of the world, one person at a time, like Ash said. Like the teachers, if they can't get a job, if they can't secure a safe working environment, why not join ONPASSIVE? Create your own curriculum. Create your own co-op. Teach your kids the things that you know is valuable as teachers, what you want the children to learn, instead of what you're... All they do anymore is test and test and test. The value of the education in private education right now is like zero to me. I wouldn't put my children in it again. The bullying, all of the unpleasant things do not have to be that way. And if we utilize O Academy like it is meant to be utilized, oh my God, we're going to be so ecstatic. There's going to be so many people. I want to learn different languages. I've never been good at it, but I want to learn. And I want to be able to converse with people that speak the language. So people are going to be in France and England and Spain and Mexico. They're going to be putting classes with those languages out there that we can take advantage of with O Academy. And for founders, it's going to be virtually almost free. My God, I'm going to be so excited over it. I've gone to school all my life, so I'm just one of those, that I never get enough. I got to learn something new at least once a week. So we're going to have so much fun once ONPASSIVE launches that we're going to forget about being old. We're going to forget about being sick. We're going to forget about a lot of misery. And we're going to have time, like Ash was explaining tonight in the webinar, by freeing up just 2 hours a day for us with the kind of work that we do. Just a couple hours a day. It's going to add 10 or 20 years to our life. You can't beat it. ONPASSIVE is going to change the world in all ways. And I'm just talking about O Academy. O Connect is going to put Zoom to sleep. It's got so many benefits that, my God, I can't hardly wait to get it out there to everybody I know. I wanted to put it in every church. I want to put it in every organization that has a large group. Like I got, in 2 of my groups, I've got over 4,000 people. O Connect is going to be another bomb. So is O Create. Those of us that want to have websites and want to start businesses and want to build our businesses as well as ONPASSIVE, all of that, we're going to have a marketplace to put our products on if we want to. I want to make soap again and hydrosols. And I don't want a huge store. I don't want to manage a huge, I want to do it as a small income producing thing, but I want to do it for the people that need it, because I used to develop soap for hyperallergenic people that is perfect, just perfect soap. And even the hunters around here, they said, "Are you going to make any more? Of there's a particular brand soap I made for the hunters." And I said, "No, I'm not going to do it, but I'm going to have somebody else do it." I kept all the formulas. I said, "I'm going to have somebody else do it for me." But we can do all that. We're going to have all that right here in our hands. So we got so much to celebrate about. I can't get over some of these moaners and groaners. It takes time. It takes time to do what Mr. Ash has done. When he sprung that, he had his own data center. Oh, good God. I was awake for 3 days. I couldn't believe it. I want to tell you about some things that I know, because I worked, years ago in the industry. And we have an inside straight to highly advanced technology by being ONPASSIVE founders. We're just not going to have the run-of-the-mill, we'll tell you what to do and you do it kind of attitude. No, we're going to be able to learn it. We're going to be able to find out how a blockchain works. I want to go over that with you tonight, because I do know some things about that I can contribute to. Oops, my screen went kaflooey. I'm so sorry. Hold on, I'm here. Wait. I don't know what happened there. I'm learning new things about this studio. I love you too, John Boutakis from Australia, and Cynthia Brown. How are you, darling girl? I'm glad you're here with me. Tell me if you got questions, and if you were in the webinar tonight, and if there's anything I can help you with, let me know, and I will give you the Willow point of view. It may not be the absolute right one, but I'll tell you how I understand it anyway. We are working toward a perfect system. Blockchain technology has been around for years. And let me tell you, I've been studying it for a number of years. And I know that given the right opportunity, we're going to find out how blockchain should be happening and how it should be used. Because if nothing else, one thing that Ash is honest, and he's working toward an honest system. But you should really get smart, go out there and learn what the technology is concerning blockchain. Because blockchain started many years ago. Oh, Cynthia, honey girls, thank you. I want to tell you a little bit about blockchain, about what I know. And I want to tell you some terminology, like what is an NFT? That's a new little thing they're throwing around out there. It's called non-fungible token. And it's a unit, one little unit of data stored on a blockchain. And it certifies a digital asset that is unique, and it's not interchangeable. And NFTs can be used to represent like unique ownerships of photos and audio and other types of digital files. So it's used in the blockchain terminology field. And you should, Lily Lane, I'm loving having you, darling. You're the classiest lady I know. I want to be you when I grow up, darling girl. I tell you what, or else I'm going to get a wig to make me look like you because I think you're gorgeous. Anyway, shape or form, every time I see you, you look so put together. God, how I admire people like that. I look like I just got off the damn tractor. My hair standing straight up on it. Okay, I will tell you about blockchain. Oh, there's my sweet girl. Okay, my Taurus family is watching me on the big screen, and she's going to be my co-host because we're going to keep this going, this night chat with all my group of people that are with me. And I'm telling you, Susan Torres and Phil are two of the most active members in my team. And she was on my first live, Susan. I absolutely adore her. I love her and Phil and her sister Marcia and their children. They are really, really beautiful assets to ONPASSIVE. And I was so fortunate that they took my word about something I seen just because they loved me, not because they knew anything about it, because they joined the same time I joined practically. So anyway, I want to tell you a little bit about blockchain, and it might get a little boring, so you can tell me to shut up if it gets too heavy. Blockchain, all it is, when they say blockchain, it's a database and it's shared among nodes of a computer network. As a database, a blockchain will store information electronically in digital format. So when you hear people talking about blockchains, envision building blocks side by side by side. And each one of those blocks, there's nodes in there that contain, information, and then there's a chain that goes between them. So they can transmit this from this block to this block to this block. Blockchain. That's where it comes from. They're best known. Blockchains are best known in the business. Really, they became known, I think, in the 90s. Really, the philosophy started in Egypt, but I mean, they become embedded here and stuff in the 90s, I think, 90, 91. But they play a crucial role in cryptocurrency systems. Blockchain is not just for cryptocurrency, however. But they play a big role, such as Bitcoin does, for maintaining a decentralized record of transactions, to put it frankly. It's easy. The innovation with the blockchain is it guarantees the security of a record of data, and it generates trust without the need for a third party like a bank. Because let me tell you about those banks. I've been preaching this for 10 years. The banks are going to fold, or they're going to hold your money where you can't get it out, like they did in Greece when they had a recession there. And I've been telling people for 5 years, get your money out of the banks and put them in a damn. Ash will probably come on and tell me, you're not supposed to be talking about that. No, I'm not. But I'm going to tell you anyway. You need to look at your banking and how you're using your banking right now. The banks can do whatever they want with your money. When you put it in there, they own it. You don't. They charge you for using it. Credit unions do not. They run on a different way. I pulled all my money out of banks except for two very small community banks. You got that right, John Dutchakis. They're one huge scam. And they're not out to help you. They use your money to line their own pockets. And the banking industry is owned by 5 distinct family members. Has been in there, hi, Jason. I'm glad you got here, darling. Liz, I do too. I use credit unions, and I'm opening a natural trust, and I found out that I was able to, in a bank, it's hard to establish a natural trust. Natural trusts are different than living trusts that some banks will allow you to do. Natural trusts are where you don't have to report anything unless you want to, and they're another animal altogether. And if you want to know about them, you let me know, and I'll send you the Brilliant Commerce book. I sent it to Liz, and Liz and them have been looking at it too. But we all are kind of looking into natural trust to be able to be more secure with our finances. But I'm not a financial advisor in any way, shape, or form. I'm a farmer. And I'm poor all my life, so I can't tell anybody who's got a lot of money how to deal with it. But I am going to do a trust, and Cynthia, I hope we'll get together privately, all of us, and say, okay, listen, once we get all connect, we're going to get together after we launch, and we're going to learn how to use the credit unions to our advantage, how to create the trust, and I've got people that are going to come on and talk to us about it. So we will be able to do that once we find out what we have to do. But I want to get back to the blockchain system. One key difference between a typical database and a blockchain is how the data is structured. That's all. But it's very important to remember this. A blockchain will connect information together in groups, like little nodes or blocks, that hold sets of information. And each block has a certain storage capacity. And when filled, they close the block. And then they link it to either a previously filled block, or they form a chain of data known as a blockchain, where all new information will travel into another block. So all new information that follows the freshly added block will be compiled into a newly formed block. And so it goes on and on and on and on. And a database usually structures its data into tables, whereas a blockchain, like its name implies, structures its data into chunks or blocks that are strung together. So there's a much different storage structure to it. The data structure inheritedly makes irreversible timelines of data when implemented in a decentralized kind of nature. But when a block is filled, it is set in stone and becomes a part of the timeline forever. And each block in the chain is given an exact timestamp when it is added and when the data is structured. So we got hacked on Bitcoin. We've been trying to get our money back for over a year. And we will get it eventually, because blockchain collects information together in groups known as blocks, and it holds sets of information. And you can't destroy that information. So it makes using cryptocurrency a safer method of financial transactions than banking. Banking can take your money and they own it. It's not true with Bitcoin, even though we were under Coinbase and they were supposed to be the best vehicle in the world, and they're not. They're very flawed. I wouldn't put another Bitcoin. I wouldn't put another dollar in Bitcoin or buy any Bitcoin from them ever again. But The data structure, when it's strung together, makes an inherently irreversible timeline of data that is implemented in a decentralized nature. It's set in stone. It becomes part of the timeline. And each block in the chain, it's given an exact timestamp. Like, listen to what Ash has been telling us. That timestamp, when we signed in, is set in stone. That's very similar to blockchain technology. Blockchain technology and hand in glove, works right along with the technology of artificial intelligence. Each block in the chain is given an exact timestamp. So some of the takeaways that you want to take away from me and my running my mouth here is blockchain is a type of shared database that differs a great deal from a typical database in the way that it stores information. For one thing, blockchains store data in blocks that are then linked together via cryptography. I can't even say that. As new data comes in, it is entered into a fresh block. And so it's easily to store in a database. And once it's filled with data, it goes on, and it works in chronological order then. And different types of information can be stored on a blockchain. It's not all cryptocurrency. But the most common use so far has been a ledger. It creates a ledger for transactions, like in Bitcoin. Blockchain is used in a decentralized way so that no single person or group has control of that block. Rather, all users collectively retain control. Decentralized blockchains are immutable, which means that the data entered in is irreversible. That's why I say we will get our money back, but God knows when. For Bitcoin, that means that transactions are permanently recorded and they're viewable to anyone. So when you get hacked, they see where it's been hacked. They can tell you how it's been hacked, and they can rectify that. And some places like Coinbase have insurance to cover your losses, but they don't like to live up to that. So you have to be careful. That's why we're going to be so fortunate to have a man of high esteem creating blockchain technology for us. It will be like having our own bank. Probably better in the long run. Because the goal of blockchain in itself is to allow digital information to be recorded and distributed, but not edited. There's the key. There's the key. They can't get in your stuff and jimmy it around. John, I don't think, John had a question in the chat. I'm like you. I don't trust Bitcoin at all right now because of the people that are running little Coinbase agencies. I trust the process, and the Bitcoin technology is going to change the world. It's going to be our mode of financial use. In the future, you might as well get started now learning about it. And Ash is going to let us do that. And we're going to learn. Gold and silver is good, but it is precious metals are corrupt. The industry is corrupt, John. There's some little factors of it that they let slide, and they're not controlled by the powers that be. but they're manipulated to serve the few, not the many. Blockchain, technology can eliminate that if it's used properly, and even be better than precious metals. It was blockchain technology. I'm sure it was in 1991, which really predated its widespread use. It was proposed as a research project. But Bitcoin in 2009 come into view, and I believe the man's last name was Nakamoto too. And in the years since, the use of blockchains have exploded because the various cryptocurrencies, decentralized finance, they're called DeFi applications. That's what they're called, DeFi. And you'll hear it used in terminology out there. And non-fungible, like I was talking to you before, NFTs and smart contracts have hit the world. And we all need to get smart and learn about them. There's a transaction process for blockchain, and there's attributes of cryptocurrency blockchain. My husband taught me that. He knew about it long before me, before I started searching. If a company owns a server farm with 10,000 computers used to maintain a database holding all of its clients' account information, and then the company owns a warehouse building that contains all of these computers under one roof, can you imagine the expense and the heat that these computers produce? This can provide a single point of failure with blockchain decentralization. What happens if the electricity at that location goes out? What if its internet connection is severed? How's it going to hurt, people? So there are some big cons to it right now, but they're working on a process that even if it burns to the ground, or a bad actor erases everything with a single keystroke, which is not going to happen. The data can be corrupted. So what blockchain does is to allow the data held in the database that is so susceptible to damage to be spread out among several networks, no heat, nodes at different various locations, and it not only creates redundancy with the data, but also maintains the fidelity of that data, even if there is someone tries to alter a record or something like that. Much more secure than the other financial means that are out there. And I have visions of it becoming absolutely the way to go. That's all of us are going to find out when we're on ONPASSIVE. And Ash takes blockchain to the level I think he's going to take it to. We're going to see a whole different kind of world, financial world. We're going to see a different world because of the goodness that is going to come out of it. But we're going to see a way of dealing with our finances we never thought we'd ever go. Blockchain establishes an exact and transparent order of events. You can't screw with it too much. No single node within the network can alter information held within it, for example. And because of that, the information and history, such as transactions of cryptocurrency, are irreversible. And, a record could hold a list of transactions with cryptocurrency, for example. But it is also possible for blockchain to hold a variety of other information, like all your legal contracts, all your trust, a company's product inventory, for example. Or what I know Ash is thinking about, he must, is that exact fact, a company's product inventory. He's going to have such a vast inventory of products and physical products that we haven't even heard about yet. Blockchain is the way to go. This man is a genius, whether we know it or not. He knew what he was doing. And when he threw that out, we got blockchain. He wants you to know how secure the data is in the databases and how it's going to be even more so secure. Even to validate new entries or records to a block, about a majority, I think, of the decentralized network's computing power would have to agree to it. That'll stop any bad actor from validating bad transactions to cover up things or double spends, what they call double spending. They have, I want you to remember these words here, because this is important too. Now, I've just recently learned some of these acronyms. There's proof of work, which is a POW, or stake, proof of stake. These mechanisms allow for agreement even when no single node is in charge, because there's transparency. Because of the decentralized nature of Bitcoin's blockchain, all transactions can be transparently viewed by either a personal node or using blockchain. They call them blockchain explorers. And they allow anyone to see transactions occurring live. And each node has its own copy of the chain that gets updated as fresh blocks are confirmed and added. So there's a trail that cannot be altered. It is, because of the decentralized nature of Bitcoin's blockchain, you don't have to have the storage vehicles that they once needed, to mine Bitcoin, for example, and things like that. That's not going to be the things that I believe are going to be important in the future. It's going to be much more than that, because you can track Bitcoin wherever it goes now. Even though exchanges like Coinbase have been hacked, those who kept Bitcoin on the exchange lost everything. But the hacker may be entirely anonymous. The Bitcoins that they extracted are easily traceable. That's why Bitcoin's been jacking us around for a long time. We know they're lying. And if the Bitcoin's stolen and some of these hacks were to be moved or spent somewhere, they would know it. Because that Bitcoin, that little node of data, has an identifier. So that's just a little bit about blockchain. I have much more to tell you in the days to come. And we'll get more and more educated as we go. And the question I get all the time is blockchain. Are blockchains secure? Hell yes, compared to the banks, they are. They have security and trust in several ways. They're always stored linearly and chronologically. That is, they're always added to the end of the previous blockchain. You can't go back and alter the contents of a block. You can only add to it. And there's a trail there that each node is viewable. Each block contains its own hash, what they call hash. HASH is the acronym for it, along with the hash of the block before it and the previous timestamp. And hash codes, that's where hash codes really are different than hashtags that you hear about. Hash codes are created by a mathematical function. And that function turns digital information into a string of numbers, long string of numbers and letters. And if that hash is edited in any way, the hash code will completely change as well. And you can tell where that change falls in. It is one of the ways that, just use, for example, I read on Google today, a hacker who will run a node on a blockchain network wants to alter a blockchain and steal cryptocurrency from everyone else. If they were to alter their own single copy, it would no longer align with anybody else's copy. And when everyone else cross-references their copy against each other, they would see this one copy stand out. And that hacker's version of the chain would be cast away as illegitimate. But that hacker would have to control and alter 51% or more of the copies of the blockchain in order to steal. It's almost, it takes a mathematician to figure out the different timestamps and hash codes and everything that they have to change in order to steal it. It is much more secure than financial. Networks, Now, they said that you don't have to pay taxes until you withdraw your cryptocurrency. But I disagree with them. People think they can't be traced, and yes, they can. And yes, the IRS and the government knows what you got. You can get by with it if you don't spend it. But if you do, it's going to be, John, I don't know they didn't have income tax as we know it before 1913. I don't believe. That was I forget the president that, was it Hoover? Might have been. I don't know. I don't know the background of that, John. I'll look it up for you, though, and have it for you by tomorrow night. I'll find out why they didn't, honey. Liz said, one of the main benefits of blockchain is its security and ability to store chronological information. Absolutely. That's one of the benefits. Not all of them, though. And Cynthia, you're right. Blockchain is going to keep up with the information. Not only the money. It's not only financial. That's where I want you to change your thinking here. Blockchain is much more than financial transactions. It handles data of all sorts. Like, say, if you were smart and you had computer access and stuff, you could handle all your business using the blockchain philosophy. Woodrow Wilson, yeah, John, that was the way. He was a nutcase. He's caused us all this trouble all our lives, even before I was born. But anyway, due to the size of many cryptocurrency networks and how fast they're growing, they pull off a feat. Probably it's insurmountable to think of them being dealt with any other ways in cryptocurrency. Blockchain. The blockchain technology was first outlined in 1991. I think the guy's name was, there was a woman too, that was involved in that, but I think his name was Stuart Haber. And another guy was Scott Stornetta. They were researchers who wanted to implement a system where document timestamps could not be tampered with. That was their goal, and that formed the basis of blockchain. But it wasn't until almost 20 years later, with the launch of Bitcoin in January 2009, that blockchain had its first real-world application. And all of the Bitcoin protocol is built on a blockchain. Bitcoin's pseudonymous creator, Satoshi Nakamoto, that's who he was. I forgot his first name. Referred to it as a new electronic cash system that's fully peer-to-peer with no trusted third parties. And then Satoshi created all that and he quietly disappeared. Smart man, I think. The key thing to understanding here is that Bitcoin merely uses blockchain as a means to transparently record a ledger of payments. But blockchain can and is, in theory, used to immutably record any number of data points, any kind of data points. It's going to be used in AI in a way that we can't fathom yet. As discussed, this could be in the form of transactions, votes in an election, for example. Blockchain can be used for that. Product inventories is another blockchain feasibility. State identifications, deeds to home, and much, much more. We're going to see blockchain technology being infused into our world in various different ways. So now is the time when we're all getting used to blockchain and hearing the words, and we automatically think of, oh, Ash is going to create a coin. Maybe he won't. Maybe that's not the purpose of blockchain at all in ONPASSIVE. Maybe it is control of our databases and what they contain, and creating another level of security in the database that no other industry-driven database has. If he uses, and he just mentioned blockchain, he didn't mention cryptocurrencies. So we got to stop reading in to what he's talking about, because he's farther ahead of people than they even realize. So, like I say, blockchain, we've got to have a class on blockchain. That's all there is to it. We've got to, because all of us need to be up to snuff with this kind of technology. We can't sit in our depths and expect Ash to do it all for us. We got to be informed, so when he tells us this is what we're going to do, we don't drive him nuts trying to ask questions to get him to define it for us. There are many ways to implement blockchains in a variety of ways to help society, other than just recording transactions. Trust me. They can be used. We've got problems with voting machines and stuff now. And blockchain can be used to vote securely in democratic elections. That's what they're going to be looking into next year. The nature of blockchain's immutability means that fraudulent voting would become far more difficult to manage if blockchain was incorporated. A voting system could work such that each citizen of a company would be issued a single cryptocurrency or a token, for example. And each candidate would then be given a specific wallet address. And the voters would send their token or crypto to the address of whatever candidate they want to vote for. And the transparent and traceable nature of blockchain would eliminate then both the need for human vote counting and the ability of bad actors to tamper with physical ballots. And I agree with you, Cynthia Brown. That's when I'll vote again. And if you want to talk a little bit about blockchain versus banks, oh God, I've got volumes of stuff on that. Blockchains have been heralded as being a disruptive force to the banking industry. Yeah, because the banking industry is crooked as a sheep's staff. It is totally crooked. And blockchain would be a disruptive force to the finance sector like no other in the world. That's why they're fighting tooth and toenail to keep it out of the banks. But yet now they're trying to move it into the banks so they can manipulate it. But they're not going to be able to do it. It won't work. And it will be a disruptive force to the financial sector. And especially with the payments, the functions of payments to the banking industry. Banks and decentralized blockchains are vastly different. The banking system blockchains are used to store data about monetary transactions. And there are 10,000 other cryptocurrency systems running on blockchain right now. But it turns out that blockchain is actually a reliable way of storing data about other types of transactions as well. That's what the banking industry is nervous about. Some companies that have already incorporated blockchain include Walmart, Pfizer, AIG, Unilever, and a host of others. They're using blockchain technology right now. For example, the hated IBM has created its food trust blockchain to trace the journey that food products take to get to their location. Imagine that. Good old Bill Gates. I'm not going to say anymore. I'm going to be good. I'm going to be good here. I'm not going to throw rocks at it. What you probably ask yourself, why are they doing that? Well, number one, E. coli. Food industry has seen countless outbreaks of E. coli, salmonella, and listeria, to name a few, and hazardous materials being introduced to foods from other countries. In the past, it's taken weeks to find the source of those outbreaks and to realize the cause of sickness these outbreaks are making. But using blockchain gives brands the ability to track a food product from its origin through every stop it makes and finally its delivery. If a food is found to be contaminated, then it can be traced all the way back through each stop to its origin. Not only that, but these companies can also now see everything else it may have come in contact with and how it could have become contaminated, for example. So that's just one example of blockchain work in the industry. I used to wonder, well, how do they know it come from that farm? Well, now they know. It's by using blockchain technology. Banking and finance, there's not another industry, trust me when I tell you this, stands to benefit more from integrating blockchain into its business operations more than banking. But financial institutions only operate during business hours, usually 5 days a week. That means if you try to deposit a check on Friday at 6 p.m., you'll most likely have to wait until Monday morning before it'll go through. And even if you do your deposit during business hours, a transaction can still take 1 to 3 days. Blockchain, on the other hand, never sleeps. Never sleeps. And by integrating blockchain into the banks, consumers can see their transactions processed in as little as 10 minutes. Basically, the time it takes to add a block to the blockchain. And regardless of holidays, the time of day or week, with blockchain, the banks can have an opportunity to exchange funds between institutions more quickly. In the stock trading business, for example, the settlement and clearing process can take up to 3 days or longer. And the money and the shares are frozen during that period of time. But given the size of the sums involved, even a few days that money is in transit can carry significant cost and risk for the bank. So blockchain forms the bedrock for cryptocurrency, for sure. The US dollar is controlled by the Federal Reserve. Need I say more? Under this central authority, a user's data and currency are technically at the whim of their bank and their government. If a user's bank is hacked, the client's private information is at risk. If the client's bank collapses or the client lives in a country with an unstable government, the value of their currency is at risk. In 2008, I don't know if any of you remember this, several failing banks were bailed out. Remember the great bailout? I do. And they used taxpayer money to do it. And out of that was why Bitcoin took its legs and was conceived and developed. By spreading its operation across a network of computers, blockchain allows Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies to operate without the need for central authority. So we're going to see a new world when we have a cryptocurrency wallet for our savings or as a means of payment. Wallet is going to revolutionize the way everybody does business. Trust me. If it's based on blockchain technology, my God, it's going to be far ahead of anybody out there. Ladies, let me tell you, I remember when I couldn't get a bank account because I was female. That's how old I am. Since when have you heard of a time when the playing field was leveled for a woman? Ash Mafara has done that. So when I tell people to get in on ONPASSIVE, I'm telling you there's a revolution going on here. There is a movement that's going to sweep the world. And women that can't keep jobs and earn enough money to support their families are to go to be in the running, right up at the top, right at top speed, without any competition. It is going to be a done deal, like Ash calls it. What do you think this old lady got in? What do you think I got in? I got cancer. I lost everything we had. I got cancer twice. All it takes is one serious illness to take away every bit of money you saved your entire life. One illness. I had two. My husband had the third. And we're down to poverty level. That fast. But I still got my brain. I saw Ash coming along. And he told me, we're going to change the corruption. I was in. I've never looked back. I'll never regret it. And I'll never badmouth him or ONPASSIVE ever in my lifetime, because it's going to be the savior. During this recession, you can look to your members of your family, knowing in your heart they're taken care of. Because let me tell you, there's money out there. It's the distribution of money that we're going to see cause the misery. And Ash has taken the pyramid, flipped it upside down. The earning pyramid that's set with all the CEOs up here and the little guy down here, he's just flipped it. And that's what you're going to be seeing in the future. Don't ever get worried about what Ash is going to do. He's got your back. He's got you covered. Healthcare providers are going to use blockchain technology to securely store the patient's medical records. And guess where those medical records will be stored if Ash uses blockchains in his database? Can you think of the stream of income that can bring? Use your heads, people here. Blockchain is a reality just like 3D printing. Houses are going to be built. Charities are going to be a thing of the past because we're going to overcome hunger. Ash has raised the bar up for other people to try to grab it in the industries that are out there. And that includes blockchain, cryptocurrency, database management, all of it. He's got it all covered. Artificial intelligence, I've worked with that since I worked at McClellan Air Force Base. As a junior systems analyst, we didn't know shit. I'm sorry. we barely knew how to code, but we got fancy titles. But now, artificial intelligence, it started then, way back then, 25 years ago or more. We have a system that's beautiful, that's in its infancy, has created a way to help the little guy. And like Cynthia Brown says, we have it all. He's going to heal a lot of wounds in a hurting world. And he's going to shine a light so bright, she says, the globe's going to smile. I love you, Cynthia Brown. You're my kind of people, girl. But I haven't bored you to death with all of this tonight. If I have, I won't keep on with it. But if you find it interesting, please let me know. And we will work on getting educated. Nothing will hold us back. Nothing. Nothing's going to hold us back. Not being a woman, not being undereducated, nothing's going to hold us back because we're going to have a way to get educated if we want to be. Maybe we just want to be content. Maybe we just want to help others. That's enough. That's all. All Ash asks us to do is to raise one person up, to get comfy and raise one person up. But I am a female warrior. I don't just want to sit back. I want to create a farm that's totally off the grid. I want to create my own recycled water from air. I want to have food that I can give away. I want to feed the world. And I want to grow it in tunnels so those streams of garbage that's coming from our atmosphere doesn't contaminate the food you grow. There are things that we are going to be doing in the future that you'll probably say, I'll never do that. I'll never be a farmer. Let me tell you what, when the food's not anywhere else where you can procure it, you'll grow it. They found that out during the World Wars when they had victory gardens, when they had food stamps of the kind that, you'd get so much coffee, a little bit of sugar, and whatever. Commodities, I think they called them then. We're going to have to learn to be survivalists. My son and I have investigated wind energy, solar energy, getting off the grid. We know every little in and out there is of it because we know what's coming. And if you put your keen mind, I haven't found anybody on ONPASSIVE that wasn't smarter than attack. Start thinking in terms of taking control of your life, taking it out of the government's hands because they're not going to give you a damn thing, and learning to survive better than you've ever survived in your life. And Ash has opened up that for us. So if you're sitting on the fence, call Willow. I'll talk you into doing something that will change your life. I won't talk you into signing up, maybe, but I'll get you thinking about where you should be directing your thoughts right now. I hope you've loved being here with me like I loved having you. And I hope you'll spread the word, share. We will have guests. We will have guests coming in. We'll be interviewing every founder I can get my little sticky fingers on and talk them into coming on my show. And we're going to get famous now and after launch, because after launch, we're going to be so busy helping others that we're going to need outlets. Every one of us is going to need a YouTube channel. Every one of us has got to learn how to use all of the products of ONPASSIVE. So, Cynthia, I loved having you, darling. Thank you. I want to thank my son for watching out for his mama. Thank you, honey. I know you had something else to do tonight, but I love you for this. I love all of you. John, you know, when I first met you, I loved Australia. Narelle and all of the Australians are just my cup of tea. You guys' philosophy about the world just really rings my bell. And little Liz down there, thank you. I didn't know you were still with me, honey girl. And Lily, I'm going to start 11 o'clock, Lily, every night, I think. And there's a reason behind that. I was going to do it in the daytime, but I didn't want to take away and maybe take away from some of the other webinars and things that were going on. But I would get off the webinar at 10 o'clock at night and I would be wide awake, you know, and I was up to 4 in the morning thinking about what to do and everything. So I decided, well, if I'm doing this, somebody else is too. And people in another part of the world might be just getting up and they might want to have a little Willow with their coffee. So I thought, well, let's do it at night. And my husband said, well, you're up all night anyway, why not? You know, and so it kind of fit, Lily, that we'd start around 11 and we'd go as long as there was somebody here that wanted to talk, I'd stay on. I can go all night if we have to. But I don't want to wear people out. They're too polite to say, I got to go to bed, Willow, you know. So, Susan, darling, before you leave me, I want you to come back on because you didn't get a chance. That first time we were fumbling around, you didn't get a chance to come on. I want you to come on as a regular host with me, and we can share and talk back and forth. You have so much, you and Philip, to add that I hope that you will consider coming on with me as often as you want to do it. And everybody else, I'm going to start hearing their story and what they're trying to find out about. I would love to have you, Liz. Liz is working out there in the field with people that are in terrible struggles right now. And her input is going to be valuable on Oh Bless. I want you to get involved with Chris Johnson, Liz, and really think about giving up your day job, because soon you're going to be able to, and your babies are going to be set for life. So I am really excited that you're here tonight. And I'm going to talk to Chris and have him get in touch with you, or you get in touch with him, Liz, because he's the sweetest man on the face of the earth. He's just lovely. So we're going to have great fun when Unpassive rolls out. And I got another channel on YouTube, and I'm going to be teaching methodologies to learn how to meditate. I had to be careful here, but not only meditation, but how to really learn to use your brain. And I'm going to be giving classes on the other channel, how to develop relaxation, how to cleanse your aura, how to visualize, how to manifest things. And I am going to do it for free. I'm not going to charge. But I will need subscribers, and I will need you to trust me that I know what I'm doing, because we're going to need that kind of information in the years to come. All of you are. You can't just move into the fifth dimension without knowing what the fifth dimension is all about. And I want to be able to share with you what I know. But I don't want to mix up the two channels. I don't want to embarrass Ash. You know, when you mention the word psychic, people go, oh, God, you know, she's really loony. Well, I had that all my life, and it doesn't bother me too bad. But I do want to teach the fundamentals. And there is a fundamental way you should be using your brain to heal your body, to heal your mind. And I had to learn that the hard way. So I want to do it. Liz, tell him Willow sent you to him. And I've talked to him about you. I don't think he knows that you're the Liz that I was talking about. So I'll talk to him, Liz, about it. But anyway, the other channel is going to be for us to help us cope with what we're going to have to cope with in the future. Yes, we're all going to do. Oh, Cynthia, we're going to come up with some fantastic ways that we can help others, because all of us want to do that. And that's why I say we all need to cultivate our YouTube channels and make them channels of value, not just junk that's out there. Give stuff away to people that are desperately in need of care and comfort and help. And that's going to be my goal for my second channel. But for this one, everything that Ash says, I'm going to research, and we're going to come back and hash it over here every night. So I'm going to try to give as many nighttime shows as I can. And, you know, before I wear out, you know, there's sometimes I have to take a day off and I have to hide behind my mask and relax and regroup and recollect my brain. But most of the time I can do it. I could probably do a show a night if I can. But if you would love to do that and have a place to share, I want you to come on, and I'm going to figure out a way that I can take your, I think I figured it out with this, where I can take your questions. If you put it in the chat, I can take and put it up on the screen, and it tells who said it. Like Cynthia Brown, we have it all. I pulled that up just when we were talking, and I can take your questions that way, and we can interact on your questions. That way, like, everybody will get their questions heard. And if we can't figure out what to do about them, we will seek help from somebody that knows. And yes, Cindy, you do need to talk to me. And we're going to be a dynamo when we get started. And when it launches, girl, we're going to have so much fun. And I can hardly wait. I know the people that joined under me were my lovely clients and friends. And I want to get everybody else that I love in ONPASSIVE if I can. But if I can't convince him, God's working in different ways, you know. John, I do too. I work all the time. I long for the day I never have to charge somebody I love another dime to come and let me help them. That's my greatest wish on this earth, that I never ever have to charge them again. I've had to because, like I said, I lost everything when I got sick. And now I'm getting stronger instead of getting older. You know that. I'm going to be like that 90-year-old guy that's flying his own plane and stuff. But, John, you'll be okay too, honey. I know that sometimes it seems hard to wait. The waiting makes us exhausted. But you know, Ash has done miraculous things in 4 years. He's not going to make us wait much longer. But some things are worth waiting for. And if we can abide together, share together, help each other, we'll get through this. And I'm here. If you need to talk, you call me. I never charge ONPASSIVE people for advice. I'm full of it. But I do want to say, I want you to tell people about our show, though, because I would love to get subscribers, because it'll help me on YouTube. And I will subscribe to your channels, too, if I can find them. You just put a message for me in Facebook to go to your site, and I'll go to your site with the link, and I will subscribe. And if we all do that for each of us, we're going to help each other out. And that's what we should be doing. You know, so God bless you for being here tonight. And I'll see you tomorrow night if the sun shines and the creek don't overflow. It was raining like cats and dogs today. But anyway, I